Oh.
Because I have a teaser for tonight's guest that I have changed my number one NBA player for the MMA rankings. I've got a new pick. I don't think I'm going to be alone. I'm going to let him have the chance to guess it. But before we get to all that, it's time for Verbal Tap, a show that proves fighting way easier from outside of the last few minutes of LeBron's elbow. I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raf Esparza. Raf, is this just like a birthday gift kind of thing?
Kind of. I mean, speaking of birthday gifts, you want to know what's really great? Going to cover an MMA event and not working it.
Really? Why did they not let you in? They took one look at you.
Actually,
like,
that is
100%
accurate. They did let me in. I tried to reach out to our friends at King of the Cage, and they did not get back to me.
Ouch.
And lo and behold, I still ended up going. And you know what was delicious about it, Kev?
That you got to do some guerrilla coverage where it's like you just stormed it. No press credentials, just a vest.
Oh, no. If I'm not credentialed, I go on vacation.
Oh,
and
you just drank some beers and ate some nachos.
I did. And you know what's even better is the fact that, yes, I almost confused my friend Gabe for just another random Asian person who looked like him. Oops. I almost squared up with him because that's how I greet some of my friends. And I'm really glad that I didn't get into a real fight with a fake friend rather than a fake fight with a real friend. Anyway, Kev, it was glorious. King in the Cage. Had a great time. But you know what's the best part is? The best part is that when you want to leave, you can.
Yeah, you didn't have to stay and ask people questions about if that's how they play in the fight.
It's that. It's also not sitting there when everybody else leaves and then looking at the poor amateurs who finish out the night and saying, yeah, I guess I'll stay. It's fine. We should really do that. All right, I'm taking 3 photos of you and then I'm done.
Oh, so you still did a
It was
little.
glorious.
Okay.
My thanks to friend of the show, Huber, and, his wonderful girlfriend, his friends who invited me. We had a great time. It was really cool to catch up with him. But we're going to catch up with somebody today, Kevin, and I want to tell you this. I'm excited about this because the gentleman on our show today is a legit good guesser. And he actually won a qualifier when you were not on the podcast a year ago. And I decided that I would cash in now for him to return to the show. And the last time he beat Keith Krikorian, which some say is not a hard task. However, roll against him and tell me differently. He was also predicting on one of the last Dustin Poirier fights. And I thought, what better way to bring back good friend of the show? You know him. You love him. The host of the Protect Your Neck show. Dan Tom. Dan, how are you doing, sir?
Raf, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm actually not Dan Tom. I'm just an Asian guy who looks like Dan Tom. So you, in fact, have gone 0 for 2, sir. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to point this out to you. I put that up, and one of my friends, when I said, guys, this was not Gabe, even though I almost went up to just go up to him and was like, hey, what's up, Gabe? And one of my friends who saw the photo of the guy that I snuck goes, you're lying. That's Gabe. I don't believe you. That's 100% Gabe. I think you're doing a bit. And I was like, it's not a bit. It was not that dude. So, yes. But I only got one person who called me a racist. So now it's 2. It's not the best batting average, but I'll take it.
No, don't worry. It's all love. In fact, it's actually something that happens to me, no joke, quite often, that I've learned to just roll with the punches. In fact, after a fight, granted, we all had like Extreme Couture fight team shirts on, but this kid, Kiyosuke Yokohama, Japanese kid, fought someone from Planet, and the person from Planet he fought came up after me with his coaches, and they were saying what a good fight I fought, and I didn't even fight that night. And I just went along with it, and after the quick like handshakes and hugs, they walked off, and my teammates were just like, did they think you were Kiyosuke? I'm like, yep.
I like that you just rolled with it. That's the number one. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't me, because they don't want to take credit. But it's like, you roll up to me and congratulate me on a fight victory, I will be accepting your congratulations.
Well, especially because I don't want to fight. So
I should point out, I did make eye contact with fake Gabe.
Oh.
And I had to pull the Michael Cera, I'm not staring at you, I'm staring up at the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it was awkward. So there you have it. I'd like to also give myself credit because I didn't have to bring that story up, but I did because I'm an honest person. Dan, what have you been up to? What are you doing? What's going on in your world, sir?
Aside, this being one of the few podcasts I still listen to in the MMA world,
Yeah.
I've been trying to aside from work in the MMA world, try to venture out of it as much as I can because it's kind of crazy, just as you guys mention and cover with MMA and BJJ for that matter, right? But on a positive, it's been good, man. It's been good getting into just other hobbies, going to get back into working out and getting back into the aforementioned jiu-jitsu, maybe take up a little photography. Life's grand, man.
Ooh, this is all of the interests that I like. That's great, man. I'm glad to hear that. When you say that you're taking up hobbies, some of them still are within the realm of combat sports. Is there one that you've did you start taking up cooking maybe during the pandemic? Did you take up something that's not what we do?
Well, see, here's the problem, right? Because I'm going to get back into jiu-jitsu, and that's still within the world of MMA, right? And a lot of the things in MMA, if I can just say, it's a lot of supremacy, a lot of hate speech, a lot of dog whistling. So I had the bright idea. One of the main hobbies I've really been getting into. I've had an FJ Cruiser for some time. I've wanted one for some time. And as the outdoor craze gets out there, for me, it's just more for sanity. I've been wanting to get outdoors, and I figure, guys, what better place to avoid, to be enriched with people of color, diversity, dog whistle free. There certainly isn't as many Blue Lives Matter flags in everything I try to shop that's advertised to me now, just because I look for car parts. So you mix that between BJJ, my Instagram feed is just white supremacy and terrorist advertisements all the way through right now. So that's how my hobbies are going.
It's got to be great, but I do beg I have to withhold all consideration until I see what's on the back windshield, until we're able to really vet you properly here.
No Punisher skulls. Don't worry. No Punisher skulls. None of that.
Oh, man.
I don't want to explain why, but I was just having a conversation with someone who's a semi-professional drug runner. And the basic gist was they have a Blue Lives Matter flag on the back of whatever vehicle. He carries extra Blue Lives Matter flags, bumper stickers, so he can strap it on before every shipment. And it just got me thinking. I was like, never going to look at that fucking sticker the same. Thank you. So look out.
Choice.
Look out what you're supporting. That's my only people selling those stickers for cheap. I have more pressing questions for the Dan Tom, because we just need to take a quick second to recap an episode. You should go back and listen. And it's us talking about the NBA and MMA. If you don't, I'm going to summarize that up in one short interaction. Now, thank you also for not introducing yourself as the only person in the United States that predicted Jose Aldo would beat up my man Rob Italica. But who do you currently think is the number one MMA fighter prospect in the NBA currently? Knowing LeBron got older, right? Can't have ab strains trying to fight John Jones. Not going to happen. There is your platform. Who do you think is number one?
That's tricky because you right away took out the not just the hot topic, but in general. But as far as fighting goes, you could argue that LeBron perhaps maybe proved something, maybe didn't. I don't know. But I don't know a lot about current NBA, so this is going to be real tough because according to me, I don't know if I quite clarified this in our last show, which again I suggest listeners here go back and revisit if you didn't catch. But according to me, the NBA ended in 1998 after the Chicago Bulls three-peated for the second time. And Scottie Pippen was announced, they moved him from number 49 to number 1, which didn't really happen, but, it did in my book. So, yeah, according to me, that's how the NBA ended. It's still going.
The answer is Paul Pierce because of the video that was leaked, the gravitas and the bravada, and the fact that he has now claimed just number 1 wild card status among NBA. Now, not current in the NBA. That was a little word trickery by me. To say just my current number 1. So that's good.
Right.
We've gotten it out of the way. Raf, I'm prepared to move forward with whatever we'd like to discuss here. And I wish I had tuned into your Twitter feed before I gambled on Rob Font. I would also like to clarify that.
Oh.
Yeah. bullshit.
Condolences.
In the second
Okay.
round, I was like, Anyway, should we spoil that Rob Font lost?
It's fine. I think people have had time to watch. We should,
Jose
however,
Aldo?
discuss.
Oh my
what
God,
Khabib.
Jose Aldo looks a little like the Monopoly man's coming to collect his funds in 2021. He's jacked. His stash is on point, and he's gonna fucking get that railroad back. That was my last note of the fights.
Out of Acai jail and back to the way things used to be. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have saw any of this, but Khabib's been very vocal on the Twitter, but it did prompt some discussion. And Khabib was attacking someone like Jose Aldo, where he's like, oh, he's washed up. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And then Jose does a performance like this, and you go, oh, there is some truth to maybe what Jose was saying was, oh, if you go out undefeated and you can still fight, what are you afraid of? I'm a fighter. This is what I do. I don't care about my losses. Yeah, they're on my record, but I'm more than my losses. This weekend's performance looked like he turned back time to the point where I go, oh my God, is he going to win again? Like, no, like the championship. Can he win a championship again? Because it looked impressive. So having said that, Dan, since Khabib did invite this conversation, do you hold Khabib's record over someone who has a late career resurgence like Aldo?
Where do I hold it, or is it the one or the other? Are you asking me in regards to those two?
I mean, the clickbait guy in me says one over the other, but, answer how you like.
No, I get you. One or the other. For me, I'm a history nerd, but not even because I'm a contrarian as well. But no, I'm going to say Jose Aldo. I think a lot of the things missing with a lot of the conversations when we come to ranking legacies, whatever word pound for pound statuses, however we're going to go about it. I think that historical context is often lacked. And granted, our sport's not super old, like a football or a basketball or stuff like that. But the history we do have, I think, means something, especially when you have fighters like Aldo who have fought through different segments of said history. So for me, it's Aldo hands down. Undefeated records don't do much for me, and I would hope don't do as much as it would in other sports or combat sports for many in MMA, considering the nature of it.
Okay. Second consideration. They were also talking about the fact that with Khabib, when he does get out and you look at it and he invites that conversation, we all say, oh, you know what? We'll take that conversation up. And then you look at somebody like a Jose Aldo. Does the title defenses ever play into your thing? Because Khabib does have some very prominent people that he beat, but when you look at his number of title defenses, he doesn't even have enough fights in the UFC in comparison to Aldo's title defenses. Does that matter at all?
It does. And I'm usually, I may talk on both sides of my mouth because I'm usually not a stats guy as far as the way traditional stats and the way pundits, even analysts alike try to, live and die on certain stats. I think that's pretty silly with said sample size being so limited with MMA's history. That being said, you do got to respect things like title defenses. And when you have a guy like Aldo, who has got kind of like that GSP or Anderson Silva argument or Demetrius Johnson argument, as far as they have that long line in one division, those guys used to get compared to the Coutures or the BJ Penns, where they don't have as many defenses, they don't have as pretty of a record, but they went outside of their division and suck out, looked for the hardest matches possible. Whereas Aldo, now with his Bantamweight chapter, you can say that, whereas I love GSP, but even GSP, you can accuse a bit of cherry picking with Bisping and not doing anything after. Whereas Aldo, he's working his way back up the food chain like he's some young buck, and he's taking out all the contenders.
And if you had GSP on our top 20-minute bingo card, you are a winner, lucky listener.
I will also ask this, Dan. You've been an observer of all things going on in the jiu-jitsu community as well. Though, you always are quick to be honest on how much you're observing in our community. What has been the most pressing thing that you have seen in the jiu-jitsu side that you may have questions about, or that we maybe can give you some insight on?
I love that you brought that up, because that conversation you were having in the beginning, I know it wasn't maybe about specifically a jiu-jitsu classroom, but it made me think about avoiding classes and things of that nature. And as I'm getting ready to go back to the gym, it does make me think about things I've heard you guys discuss with really qualified and frankly awesome guests that you brought into this program, as well as other shows as well, where they bring up kind of that friendly community. And I know I mentioned dog whistling, and I feel like there's a whole lot of that. You know, I look back at like my training partners and stuff, like on their Instagrams, and I haven't seen them for a while, right, guys? And when I go to their stories and everything, it's all conspiracy theories and, the Blue Lives Matter rash guards by coaches. You got, potential Bugaloo boys in the class that are guys I would be my main training partners if I were to go back there. And so I'm honestly, I'm not trying to make a big deal about it, TM or anything like that. But if I'd be lying if I said it wasn't on my mind and how that's going to go, I'm already selective with who I train with, just because I have a history of just being an excellent training partner, but also having to deal with bad training partners and getting injured because of it. And that's what's kept me off the mats for like half a decade of just really bad training partners, essentially. So I'm already have like a bit of PTSD as is pre-2020. Now going into it with the climate, that's something else I have to consider now. And, maybe I wouldn't have thought twice about, I would have thought it was cool, but I wouldn't think anything of it if someone had, BIPOC friendly, a rainbow sign or anything like that. But now it's like I would love for more places to be open and dog whistle the other way, dog whistle in the positive, the open way. Because, I'm not going to try to target gyms, ask where I eat, or pick on one gym or the other. It's pretty much all gyms, MMA and BJJ. It's just been a massive influx of that. And that's something that definitely concerns me, but also concerns me for others in this community.
Kev, you want to take the first stab at this?
Yeah, we're in a cultural renaissance due to popularity, and every sport or activity goes through it. I mean, I think CrossFit got out to a better marketing start than jiu-jitsu and really overtook us for a few years, but they weren't immune to these exact same issues, which is jiu-jitsu was very customizable by the knowledge of the human running the gym. And what we found is 10% of those humans were complete garbage. And jiu-jitsu spread with such ferocity so quickly that the governance wasn't able to keep up. So we are just on the swing of a renaissance of having extremely important conversations at every possible level. Some of us tackling it a scotch more than others. You're going to hear a lot of grappling podcasts argue that that's part of serious topics, not necessarily things they would cover. So you are spot on in terms of what you're noticing. My question, because I'm going to throw this as I comment it at Raf, if it's happening in jiu-jitsu, which I believe it is, I do not have that same confidence it's happening in MMA gyms, right? I don't know about that. So I'll just preface that with jiu-jitsu starting to have the very important conversation where MMA is at. Whew. Good luck.
All right. Let me, I guess, give you my perspective as to what's happening. There are some good things that are happening. Conversations, people are getting louder in terms of representation on a different side. I think it's very funny because Kevin and I have always been pretty vocal about being like, hey, we're pretty liberal, but y'all, we're not going to try and oversaturate things. So it is nice that we have, I don't know, going from 1 to 2 liberal MMA and jiu-jitsu podcasts can be refreshing. But I think the bigger concern that people have in our landscape is that sometimes places don't feel safe. And I think if anything we saw during a pandemic is that we saw people have more time to be isolated and alone, which does not do well for people who suffer from certain mental health problems. I think it's safe to say a lot of people have a lot of mental health issues that they're going against, whether you're left or right. I think the difference is the algorithms that you see for Instagram and Facebook do tend to give you more negative people. And there is a correlation between people who are aggressive and go a certain way in our sport to incite that aggressiveness, to make you go to comment and make you feel like that's the prevailing conversation. Sometimes it is. Mm-hmm. But I really do feel like there are a number of people who, when you go to train, don't give a shit. The problem is they're not loud. So I get people who I train with who say very nice things whenever I put up something that I know piss off other people. We've got one guy who literally responds to everything that we put up that is not far right and just does an eye roll emoji. And I think he wonders if this upsets me. And I'm always like, yeah, dude, do whatever you want. I really don't care. If you want to leave, you can hop off at any time. You follow us. I don't follow you. It's just that people want to be heard. So I think that the hard part is, yes, we have people who are aggressively, annoyingly trying to stir the pot. But if you don't give them that, their power wanes. They just like to heat check themselves and see what they can get away with. So it's part of the reason why it's like, hey, Gordon, I don't follow you either anymore. Big congrats to you. Love the jiu-jitsu side. However, you're not even a rhetorical blue belt.
I mean, I love it when people that don't have a college degree try and give me medical advice. I mean, I'm in, right? Don't get me wrong. It's amazing.
It's more so just what do you want with that anger? And if the answer is power, then I think you have your formula for why people get so incited. And I think that sometimes people just want someone to co-sponsor their shitty beliefs. So if they see somebody that they admire in jiu-jitsu who says it, they then forget, oh my God, I make fun of people who love actors who say dumb shit and worship those actors. So to me, people exist. I think you're doing the right thing in selectively choosing your partners. But don't be surprised at the amount of people who, even as they heard this part of the conversation, hit the please speed up by 2.5 speed and make us sound like chipmunks so they can get to the preview part. It's fine. I understand you guys. What I would say is I think that we have a lot more people that are starting to prevail themselves. So I think you'll be surprised when you find them. And when you do find them, you're very appreciative to it. So.
Sure.
Just my small observations.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said there. I'll just add that it's good to have these conversations too. So to hear that it's being done more, even if it's on more maybe on one side than the other, as far as gyms go. That's cool, man. Hopefully it grows more. I'm a dude that honestly just had tunnel vision anyways, even training at a place where a lot of like fighters trained, whether I was in media or not. I'm not wired like, ooh, look at that. Like I could give a crap less. I'm there to work and to a detriment. I feel like I almost don't make enough friends with the friends that I am because I'm just there to the gym to work. I go and I leave and almost to a fault. So hopefully it won't be too much of an issue for me, but
it's great though, is now you actually have a platform. You have the ability to actually say what you want. And even though there might be some ostracization through some of it, it's kind of great and refreshing. And I think it's part of the reason why I don't really get shit about what I believe. It's kind of one of those things where I just show up to train and I'm nice to people. And yeah, I mean, if you have really dumb views, I might try to heel hook the shit out of you a little bit harder. But by and large, I'm not going to hurt you.
Totally.
So.
Let's take a hard right to talking about our favorite guns and specifically our favorite gun photos. Let's just really round third on the whole topics for our audience. I'm just kidding, but I would like to. I don't know why as we got into this. There's a certain amount of. Did you see the photo of the family that took like a holiday photo with guns? Every one of them had like a different weapon. I just demand that your penis length be advertised with that photo. Like whoever's idea it was, we should just get an idea for empirical research because I think those are not going to be big Venn diagrams.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I would almost rather be the family in the animal kingdom of meme picture, where it ends up spelling Anal Kingdom with the letters that are covered. I'd rather be in that photo than in the family Christmas gun photo.
I felt so bad for everyone in that photo. It's like, you're not
Yes.
Navy SEALs. Is that what you think you look like? Oh, fewer polos. Raf, what's the deal here? I'm already struggling that I have to have any adversarial reactions to this man because I'm on his Twitter, and it really looks like Bloodsport is in the background of his Twitter.
I think by design. I think it looks wonderful. Yeah, okay. So, Dan, you actually listen to our show, so I don't really have to give you ammunition on Kevin, but I feel, in fairness, according to the Fairness Act of 1912, I don't know how long we've been doing this, I have to give you an opportunity to ask Kevin a question that you can use for ammunition. So have at. What would you like to ask Kevin that will help better inform your ability to talk trash to him?
Yeah, I feel like I got to just clarify a couple of facts. I feel like the difficulty is we're both perpetual, like almost going on over our second decade into maybe having a purple belt. Is that you too, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm on a lifelong trajectory. I feel like
I can't talk shit about that.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
I'm on the similar one, so okay, I can't take shots there. That's off the table. I feel like just from my casual listenership of the show, I feel like Kevin also to contribute to that lifelong purple belt. He also, like me, likes the adult beverages, but also maybe is nursing some injuries as well as the beers perpetually. And finding a balance between those two self-destructive things is a bit tough. Would I be wrong in saying any of that, Kevin?
Did you talk to Dr. Schwarmer? Because my therapist is not supposed to give out critical details in our quote-unquote closed sessions. Why do you ask?
See, this is the problem. I too fit that bill, so I would be a hypocrite if I went there. All right, that one's off the table. God, this sucks. I don't
they
know
make all these new hard seltzers. Dan, what am I supposed to do? Not try every single one of them? One's called ranch water, and it's disgusting. And I drank 10 of them. Why?
Oh,
wait, what?
Hey, you're giving me ideas. Stop giving me ideas for the bet for later on in the show.
Okay, but is it water that comes from a ranch, or I would like some ranch dressing and I just want to guzzle it?
No, I think it's the first. Gross. Oh, no, yeah, gross. The first one though, I think it's like ranch. It's water so tough you could drink it on the ranch. Right. This water drinks back. I don't know. I hope. God, I hope it's not the other one. Buttermilk wasn't going to do it, so we made one.
As someone who enjoys ranch, I did go to Popeyes the other day, and I got a crispy chicken sandwich. And I've never looked at this, and I don't know why they would put this out on public display. But they have a little pamphlet that shows you how many calories are in each of the sauces.
No, thank you.
And I said, can I get one buttermilk ranch? And I looked down and I saw it was 130 calories. And I go, you can keep it. That's not good for me. That's a terrible choice. And then they put it in anyway, which I think is the ultimate insult. It's like, no, fatty.
She took one look at you. She's like, you want the ranch. Here you go.
And of course I ended up opening it because I'm only so strong. Speaking of which, I think it's time to transition to the game of Over Under Kevin.
Now it's time for the thrilling installment of Over Kevin.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now at a segment of the show that we like to call Over Under Kevin. The way it works is very simple. We give each of the participants on the show 15 seconds to say who they think is going to win. Now, even though we technically award the person who gets the most picks correct, we sincerely actually crown the people's champion, the person who talks the best trash. Now, today we have two game competitors. One, Kevin, the longstanding co-host of this show, and of course, Dan Tom, who is very good at picking. Now, we should caveat this and let you guys know, this is not his official sanctioned betting podcast. If you want that one, listen to his show later this week. Because if you listen here and bet off of what we're saying here, you might bet on the person who has better abs, which, as we've seen, 50-50, really, honestly. So, gentlemen, do you both understand the rules? Kevin, do you understand the rules?
I nicknamed him on my sheet Fake Dan Tom, so nothing can be held against him in a court of podcast law. So I think I understand.
Dan, do you understand the rules?
I understand the rules. I just don't appreciate you giving away my strategy of sexualizing the male fighters, as I like to do on that side of the equation to make my picks. But carry on.
Well, welcome to Inside the Equation, fuckface, where we break it down that way, too.
It's just, I love it's the hidden secret sauce of this show to be like, hey, listen, if you listen to other shows and they don't view by abs, are you really listening to a good show? Because guess what? They worked hard for those abs. And you know who also works hard for their abs? Well, this actually doesn't work as a transition.
Some people
Shit,
we
I thought
know.
it would work better. Fuck. All right, featherweight bout between Ryan Hall and Derrick Minner. Kevin, you start off first.
This is tough because it's both the gambling thing to do and the right thing to do jiu-jitsu wise, but he does not have the scarier tattoos. So I'm going into this one light as a feather with Mr. Hall.
Okay.
Can't lose my jiu-jitsu card.
All right, fair enough. What do you have for us on this one, Dan?
I really want to go into this with a lot of dissension to keep this fun, but there's something about the way Derrick Minner spells his name Derrick with an A. It makes me want to say it like I'm a Kevin Smith character, going Derrick. And for that reason, I'll go with Ryan Hall. That and it's the big cage, so he can do his little karate impressions whenever he wants to.
It was very depressing during the summer whenever he fought last time. When he just got knocked out by trying to do heel hook nonsense. And I just thought, I don't want to see this. This is depressing. And I want to point this out. I've interviewed Derrick, and I know Ryan. So this is tough because Derrick is also pretty good at jiu-jitsu. I don't know that he's better than Ryan Hall at jiu-jitsu. So maybe not jiu-jitsu, Derrick, if you're listening. Anyway, love both of these guys. Will be tough to watch. Kevin, are you already noticing that the person who is known for picking good, one might say, for a lack of a better word, started by emulating you?
I told you several years ago I'm really good at picking. That was 2006. Nothing's changed, Raf. Nothing.
The impetus for this show and this segment has only made it worse over the years in its reality. Here's some good news. Dan, you get to go next. It's a middleweight bout between Jordan Wright and Bruno Silva. Go.
All right. I like Bruno Blundell Silva here. Jordan Wright, the Beverly Hills Ninja, I believe is his nickname. He looks like a really affable, like a really sweet kid. And I would want to root for him because he's unassuming, as they like to call my brethren on commentary. But I'm going to go with the Brazilian here. He's got really good ground and pound. And he comes from a striking camp in Sao Paulo, I believe.
Hey, Kevin, what do you have for us on this one?
Subscription to Disney Plus, and thank God I do, because I can recognize Prince when I see one. I'm going with Wright. It's a heavy underdog, which is why I'll be floating a little bit of cash on this one for an undisclosed sponsor. So I'm in Colorado. I can gamble. It's none of your business. It's not legal here. I'm going with Wright. Look at that jawline.
All right. And Jordan is of the community here in Los Angeles. He's had some good moments in the UFC. Got a savage knockout. Also has been knocked out. So, little dicey on that one. Don't know how that's going to go. Speaking of how things are going to go that I don't know, Kevin, tell me who's going to win this bantamweight match between Dominic Cruz and Pedro Munoz. Go.
I had a real moment with this one where I had to look at where this fight was and figure out if it was that Dominic Cruz and that Pedro. I was like, wait, maybe this is Derrick Cruz, his tiny younger cousin that is still fighting. I'm going to go with Munoz because I've been on a steady streak of betting against Dominic Cruz, and it's been going really well for me.
Smart, especially recently. Dan, what do you have for us?
Man, I've been a Dominic Cruz defender, and even my contrarian ass can't really keep doing that when he has only one split decision win in like 5 years. I'm gonna go with Pedro Munoz, but Munoz feels like he can just drop the ball. I'm surprised the line's this tight, but I'll go Munoz.
It's the second most surprising line of a fight to me, odds wise. I'll get to my first later because I have a real question. Go ahead.
Fair enough. Dan, question for you, though. Okay, you admit you're a fan of Dom. You've had to defend a lot of dumb things that he said. And believe me.
I don't know about that he said. No. But yeah, go ahead.
What do you think would be his keys to actually winning if he were to pull off a win, which you did not say he would do on our show? Things could change, but I'm just saying, what do you think would be the keys to Dominic Cruz winning? And extra bonus points if you don't say footwork. Go.
Yeah, well, not just footwork, but again, back to the cage size. It's the big cage. So if it was a small cage, it would be a much more confident pick against Cruz. Less confident because it's the big cage because he's going to have room for the footwork. And Cruz is smart with opportunistic takedowns. And if old man Edgar was able to do it without getting guillotined, I think Cruz can. I know he's not known for his grappling, but I do believe that he's a better grappler than given credit for with who he's trained with and how he speaks of it.
Understood. We're going to move on. It's another bantamweight bout. This time between Raulian Paiva and Sean O'Malley. Dan, who do you have for us?
Oh wow, this is a tough one. Not according to the odds, it's not tough. But I don't know if I'm just leaning into my contrarian, you're gonna get the easy road from the UFC. That little voice in some of our heads. I guess I'm just admitting that it's in my head. That being said, I'm still gonna go with Raulian Paiva. I know he's coming up from flyweight, but he's been at bantamweight. He should have been here for a minute. He's a big kid. I really like him. He goes to the body a lot, which is what I like, and I think that's going to be here against O'Malley, but I hope he goes more to the legs given what we've seen from O'Malley. But he's also very hittable too, so O'Malley could win this one, but I'm going to be leaning toward Paiva right now. So that'll be my pick for the show.
What do you got for us?
If you told me a fighter left Friday after weigh-ins to get on a yacht with Machine Gun Kelly and Pete Davidson until his fight tomorrow, when they will all be arriving, I would be like, you talk about Sean O'Malley. There's no other fighter possible that does that or gets that invite. So I don't feel great about the O'Malley pick for that only reason. There's just no fighter that's more likely to be on a private plane to nowhere on Friday night or Thursday. But, I can only do what I can do.
So who are you picking on this one?
The guy that would get on the flight. I'm on board. I'm jealous. He looks like he can recover. Okay. I don't think the hangover is going to be that big a deal. You do a little Molly. You can still fight.
Kev, question for you. Is part of the requirements for whoever faces Sean O'Malley to be who?
It is. They have had him on a murderer's row if you've never heard of these guys. And this one, I couldn't figure out the fight order for Saturday. This was another one where it's like, why? I guess they're trying to do this thing. And I get it because we used to run shows. You want that first comedian to be someone super solid because if they don't start out laughing, they aren't going to end laughing. Maybe that's the goal. They're like, let's put him up at the front against someone.
It is kind of weird in the sense that we're going from Chandler Gagey to Sean O'Malley versus Guy. And again, nothing against Senor Raul. It's just, listen, guys, we keep throwing these names at Sean O'Malley and he keeps entertaining them. And then as soon as we go, yeah, that actually makes sense. I think that that Yanez kid should take on O'Malley. Who is he taking on? Can we vote?
They do
Can
not
we
let us
re-vote?
vote. They don't like the vote.
Damn it. All right. Well, anyway, so those are my questions. We go now to Alex Perez in a flyweight bout, taking on Matt Schnell. Kevin, 15.
Well, this is tough. Matt Schnell has better abs. I'm going to say it. It's a little difficult because there might be some body hair, but, I celebrate it. Perez is named after a friend of ours who once threw me onto concrete and then finished the Kimura. So I think I have to honor that plus the heavy betting favorite that makes me wonder what happened to the odds makers on this card. There is zero chance Schnell is plus 260 in this fight. I might make some money Saturday, Raf, but I'm going with Perez.
Press is also a friend of the show, so I should point that out. Not just the Alex that we know, but I've interviewed Alex, so we're cool with them. I think. I don't know. Maybe he hates me. Dan, what do you have for us on this?
I swear this fight like already happened like once or twice, like in the Tough House, maybe in 2018 in the UFC, but no, it's just been booked twice. But that being said, twice for this year, which is weird. No COVID that I'm seeing, but I just looked at the Tapology details. I didn't go Google hunt. I'm just gonna go with the big favorite, Perez, just because, not because he's the favorite. I've been a big fan of Perez. I think I picked him to beat Figueiredo and was badly wrong on it, but I picked him because I like his skills, so I'll pick him here.
Fascinating. Who has been the fighter that has burned you the most? As an odds maker, I know that you know who it is. The question is, will you tell us?
Burn me the most, huh? That's I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. Go ahead. What do you got?
First of all, his @ handle is odds checker, not odds maker, and you're talking to the odds finder. So ask me, Raf. Who's the fighter that's burned me? Chandler, the asshole. Go on. Not over the last fight.
You're supposed to be against him, not me. Where does this come in at the moderator here?
I said I kind of understood the rules. I'm always working on it.
Wow. This is the rudest thing that you've ever done on this show. If I had the power to mute you, I think I might. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to figure out what these knobs do. But yes, fuck off. There we go. Handled. Dan, you can think about that and let us know who's burned you the most later on.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to return to this. Women's flyweight bout between Jillian Robertson and Priscilla Coachella. Go.
Me?
Yes, Dan. I said you first.
Sorry. I was still thinking about who burned me. You know what I'm saying? But it certainly wasn't Cachoeira or the lady she's facing, which is actually maybe Gillian Robertson. You know, I feel like I picked her a lot in matchups. You know, like Maverick or other ones. I'm like, oh yeah, she just has to take down the hype striker, and I always fall for those traps. So it's gonna be like a submission fighter, like a Gillian Robertson. You know, maybe back in the day it was like Joey Lozon or something. I don't know. But I am gonna pick. I don't know about play, but I am gonna pick Gillian Robertson here.
Robertson it is. Kev?
Give me Casio. I got so far into it before I lost my confidence.
You know what it is? I think her name is what you are supposed to type in that proves you're not a robot. Isn't that what her name means?
Cachoeira.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a robot.
Mm-hmm. Not a robot. We're going to go to our next bout. Kevin, you're going to start us off right here. It is a welterweight bout between Geoff Neal and Santiago.
No
Prohibido.
Fucking way you can do. There's a Z in it, Raf. There's a Z in it.
Well, let me give you the little breakdown of how I fucked up that one.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with Arrested Development comedy Bible?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a joke where they call it El Amor Prohibido, and every time I see Santiago's name, I want to call him El Prohibido, but it doesn't really work here. So I just shoehorned that in. Thus, comedy explanation. Jokes, fun. Kevin, go.
Mi hermano. I'm going with Mr. Neal. And it is a pure... I just really can't say the other guy's name choice.
Dan, what do you have for us?
This is cruel matchmaking because they pretty much paired up two guys who... both almost died in recent years, which they both did. Their bodies almost went kaput on them for health reasons. And B, Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's been admitted to having bottles of wine during his training camp as a part of his air quotes process. That being said, according to Geoff Neal's recent DUI, he too likes to enjoy beverages during
Here
training
we
camp.
go. First of all,
So I don't know if Kevin wants to change his pick, but I'm gonna go with Ponzi scheme over here.
That's a good. You know what? That's a better one than I do, but I still like El Prohibido. But Kev, go ahead. You have a chance to respond here.
Pick Gary Neal twice or Geoff Neal twice. I'm with him. I actually just called him an NBA player, but no, I'm doubling down.
Dan, question for you.
Everyone inside the car was fine.
Dan, question for you. You have famously faced one Keith Krikorian in one of the few versions of Over Under Kevin without Kevin. How do you feel that this version differs?
You know, and again, it's probably much different on the mat. No offense, Kevin, but definitely much more bite in this contest. You know, no offense to Keith.
God, no offense taken.
Texting him now.
Correct, I think.
Texting him.
He'll know. He'll be fine. Kevin, did you feel any animosity when we did that version of Over Under Kevin without you? I think it's one of only 2 times that we've ever done it without you.
You said did as in past tense? No. Do as in present still? Yes. Haven't forgotten, haven't forgiven. Probably won't.
Well, I think so far we're doing well. We're already at the midway point, which means it's time for the co-main event. And that is a women's bantamweight bout between Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. It's finally happening, everybody. Dan, you go first. This one will merit 24 seconds. 24 seconds for you, sir.
I'm gonna need way more time. Just kidding. I'm gonna go with Nunes here. Not much to say about that one. Pena, she's gonna give it a college try.
Fair. Kevin? And
So-
I'll remind you, Juliana Pena is a friend of the show, but go on.
Thank you for that reminder, adding a little bit of guilt, which I also didn't hear in the rules. I love this fight. I am really excited about Pena versus Nunes, and I'm excited every effing time Nunes fights. I would once again argue I think Nunes is the lead. If I'm her, I'm a little pissed I'm not the main event. Just because of her, period. And she's probably a little too nice to give Dana the fuck you on that. But I can't pick against Nunes. I'm not insane.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun, but good God. At some point, someone has to hurt her a little bit before I can start picking against her. Just a little bit. You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to actually do damage. A little bit of hurt. Haven't seen it.
Here's what I'd like to
When
see.
was the last time she looked stressed? Not outside of the cage, right? You're trying to shoot commercials, have conversations, but inside the cage?
I think I've seen her stressed during a post interview that she didn't remember all the names of the people she was going to shout out.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of staff.
Yeah. She's kept us there for a while, I think. She's great, though. I love her. She also is famous for piggyback writing her way out of a post-press interview, which I think is one of the ballerest ways I've ever seen somebody exit. So kudos to her.
True.
Here's what I'd like to see. You
Nunes
mentioned you'd
fights
like to see-
O'Malley. Both their opponents can't make it, and they're like, that's it. Let's just do it.
She's game. I'm sure she is. Juliana Pena has done well in scrappy fights. I am not saying she will beat Amanda here. That's some wild statements. I am saying, though, when she makes it really, really gritty, she's shown some toughness in some really bad spots. I don't think that makes up for a lack of, and I'm sorry to say this, a technique differentium between the two. But I don't know. Maybe she gives us the one round that we want to see. That would be fun. I think it's great. And we've been waiting for this one for a while. People have been injured, COVID, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So I'm just glad that Juliana Pena is getting her shot at the title. It's fun to see. I'm a little concerned, but I wish her the best.
A little concerned is nice. You said that nice.
Yeah, I try to say that as nice as possible. We're going to move on. Bantamweight bout between Randy Costa and Tony Kelly. Kevin, you go first.
For just a second, I was like, Costa, isn't he the other guy? And then it was like, no, it's Paulo. I'm going with Kelly. That's a local pick.
Done. Dan, what do you got for us?
You know, I was thinking about maybe doing a surprise move here with Tony Kelly. You know, maybe he's riding high. His significant other, Andrea Lee, just came off a win. Maybe there's, good juju in the, I don't know if it's a household, but you know what I'm saying. That being said, I'm going to go with more of Mr. Popular in the other sense of Randy Costa. I like his kicks and his power. If he doesn't get out of the first round, it might be trouble, but I'll go with Costa first round.
Oh, and a round.
Well, I'm actually going to note that. First round.
Yeah, I'm putting it down. He doesn't get anything for it,
But most of his finishes are first round, and I believe memory serves, Tony Kelly's one of more of those guys that's got to get hit first and kind of build into it. So it's going to be like one of those two outcome fights on paper. So we'll see.
Then I'll take Kelly in the third round, Raf.
Oh, he should get 2 points if that hits.
See?
Oh, we've done that before. It's just harder to remember because when I do these things afterwards, I don't know that I'm sober when I tally these things all the time. So
Can
just
either
make it
confirm
easier
or
for me
deny.
when I'm drunk. It is one of the first things that I do. Oh, I should mention this. Hey, motherfuckers. In case you forgot, we're doing a fight companion. And by we, I mean me. Milton Arguello's Mixed Martial Arts Academy. We're doing a live fight companion out of there for UFC 269. So tune in. It'll be live. It'll be fun. I'll make fun of all the people at that gym. So tune in at Grappling Hour. At us. Do that. All right, Kev, you are not going to lead us off on this one. That is mislabeled. Dan, you're going to go first, and you're going to tell us who's going to win between Kai Kara France and Cody Garbrandt. Go.
Ooh, this one is honestly up in the air for me, but what I pick here, I will stick to, and I'll go with what I'm leaning. How about that? I'm actually not leaning toward the favorite. I'll lean to Kai Kara France. The one good thing he does have is a counter right hand with power. That's the one thing Garbrandt's susceptible to, maybe more susceptible with cutting the flyweight. Give me France.
Fascinating. Kevin, what do you have?
Put it on the board. We're both Kara France. They're going to knock Garbrandt down to fight Cruz again, which is the fight that they should have done here, honestly. It's like, give me Munoz and somebody else. Give me Garbrandt Cruz again. I have Kai Kara France.
Let's keep this party going. We're going to heavyweight. It's Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuavasa. Kevin, you go first.
Tuavasa. It's not close. I still can't watch him do a shoey without gagging, and I hope to get there. I think I'm like 3 or 4 fights away. I don't understand, and maybe it's me with Tuivasa and my irrational love for him. What the fuck is he doing on the undercard for this one? Is it just them trying to add something to ESPN? I was so confused by it. This was part of my who's making the lineup for this one? Tuivasa's a star.
Fights is too much.
Put him on the main card. I was shocked to see that he'll be on the ESPN. Yeah.
All right. Dan, what do you have on this one?
I would say that, but maybe they want some shoey action to get you in. But that being said, they don't even let you watch walkouts now with ESPN prelims, especially on like a giant pack card. They're going to be like just cramming these dudes out here.
Yeah, they're not going to
They
show
don't care.
you.
The odds makers clearly don't even care either, because not that this fight doesn't deserve to be a pick'em, but there's some fights where it's like, I bet you this was just the odds makers were like, you know what, this isn't even worth analyzing because anything can happen. It's freaking heavyweight. Let's just make it an even fight. Let's see where the public takes it. I think that's what happened here. I'm not sure who Kevin picked. I'm gonna go Sakai.
Yes. Good.
Go opposite. I think he picked
Yep.
Tuivasa there. So
You did a great job on that one for me. It makes it much easier. We're going to go to our next fight. And a friend of the show, Aaron Blanchfield, he's going to be fighting in the UFC in a women's flyweight bout against Miranda Maverick. Let's go, Dan.
Shoots. I'm gonna go opposite of friend of the show. I guess I'll keep that flow going, and in case you give Kevin an out, in case he wants to back Blanchfield or not. Blanchfield did open as the favorite, but public money came in on Maverick, and I'm gonna agree with it. I like what I saw from Blanchfield, but I feel like I've seen slightly more from Maverick, and I'm of the camp that believes she didn't lose to Barber, so I'll go Maverick there.
All right. Kev, what do you got for us?
I haven't forgotten when I ask about G and a Gi too to Halleck, and I haven't forgotten the blood on this podcast that runs thicker than a cool name like Maverick, which is objectively a cool name. I think that's why the public's coming in on it money-wise. I don't think they even understand. They're just like, cool. Blanchfield, I'm team Verbal Tap.
Let's go. Blanchfield, a former EBI winner. Should note that one.
Yep.
So just wanted to say
Get it to the
props that,
ground.
which is coming back. Yay. So, Kevin, you're going to continue this. Are you going to go for Andre, cousin of Frankie Munoz, or Eric Anders? Go.
I was having a lot of problem with this because I love the name Anders. I just love the name Anders. I can't get enough of it. But I'm going to go with Munoz because I like Anders for like someone I'm going to hang out and maybe do some comedy with, not fight.
Noted.
Wow.
Let's go to our next pick. What do you got for this one, Dan?
Man, I was hoping Kevin would go with ya boy, Eric Anders, but he is not ya boy, and I'm going to go with the boy that I don't know if I could say that, can I? I'm gonna go with the fighter that Kevin backed, Andre Muniz. I've been a big fan of Muniz. He's made me some coin. He's definitely not a fighter who's burned me to not really answer your question, but to touch on it. And I'm surprised. Speaking of that, I'm surprised he's kind of not a bigger favorite, and I'll just leave it at that. But you can tell where my eyes are going to be going for maybe betting later.
Should note Eric Anders is a friend of the show, so.
I like Eric Anders. Interviewed him on MMA Junkie Radio, and he's a friend of a lot of shows. And I think the line reflects.
Hey, hold on.
This
isn't a competition, okay? I could text him right now too, if I wanted to.
I'm gonna start a show.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
MMA Rehab, because I'm tired of the stereotypes being put out there.
No,
All
no,
right.
I'm just saying that Eric Anders does a lot of shows, and I think a lot of people are cool with him because he's just like a super cool guy. And I don't want that to be lost for sure. I'm just trying to pick unbiasedly, but he's definitely a cool dude.
Fair enough. You hate him. Got it. Text it. Featherweight bout. And Dan, so you know the rules. You know that there's going to be a wager. I don't have to tell you those sorts of things. Again, They're never financial because jiu-jitsu, we don't make money. So instead, just think of some fun ones. We usually defer to the guest, as you know. So take a minute, think about it. But before you do that, featherweight bout, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. Who? 15 go.
All right. There's going to be a little bit of bias here. Hawaiian from Extreme Couture. That being said, I probably would lean toward the dog in a competitive fight like this. Emmett's overperformed, but the dude's coming off of like a ridiculous amount of health issues. Not that he is old or has a ton of miles, but he isn't the youngest, I believe, either, and he does cut a ton of weight to get to the weight class. Hasn't been there for a minute. I'll go with Dynamite DA for the upset, but would not be surprised if Emmett wins this.
Got it. Kevin?
I'm going with Emmett. Just because he's my age, and I do have a birthday coming up, which is a warning I might not be able to watch these fights. Might be at a place called Hotel Diablo for some unspeakable adult events. But I'm definitely I'll keep a side eye out for Emmett.
Well, here's the good news. I found one of the few people who I know could actually serve as a de facto co-host, and that Kevin can be the guest on next week's show. So one of the few people we can trust to do coverage, Kev.
Thank God.
All right. Final fight. Gents, for this one, I'm putting 30 seconds on the clock. I can't tell you how excited I am about this one. And I'll start with saying this. Both of those gents have put out a great statement about the other in terms as to why they will win. And I believe it started with this. Poirier saying, I'm the undisputed world champion, and I don't think this fight is going 5 rounds. Yay. And Charlie Olive saying, he's a guy who deserves all the respect in the world, but he's not taking the belt. It'll be easiest for him to just buy a belt and take it home. Yes, more. Hook it to my veins. Speaking of which, Kevin, who is going to win? 30 seconds on the clock.
I thought you were going to ask me to price belts.
Charles Oliveira.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, how much is a belt if he has to buy it, Kevin? I was going to go find it.
I almost did it, but I was like, I know it's going to come in the analysis. Kev, do your thing.
I am going to go with Poirier, who I think is quicker to get on UFCstore.com and put $850 towards a fake belt. It's Poirier, right? That's how you were introing the fight. I got too excited when you talked about the buying. I've been waiting to pick against Oliveira since he won the title, and I feel fantastic about it.
Wonderful. All right, Dan, your time to shine. Who do you got?
This is tough, man. Oliveira, he's I've been a fan of his, even though I was probably betting against him too, like it sounds like Kevin may have been with Chandler. But I'm watching.
Sorry,
I'm watching Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier right now, and I feel like this fight is going to decide it for me. I have not finished the fight, but I'll tell you who I'm leaning toward. It makes it a lot easier because it's the opposite of Kevin's pick. It is Chucky Olives. Speaking of Dan Hooker, I think he messed us all up by saying Charlie Olives. He ripped off the MMA Analysis podcast, who coined the Chucky Olives. So shame on you, Dan Hooker, for that. Dan follows me, but whatever. He will. He can beat me up or something if he sees me in Vegas. But no, I'm gonna go with Oliveira here. Originally, when I broke this fight down, I said it was gonna depend on what cage it takes place. If it's a small cage, I'll go with Charles Oliveira to get his wrestling going, his underrated wrestling. If it's the big cage, which it's going to be in, I take Poirier, so that could bode well for Kevin's pick. But I'm actually going to go with Oliveira here. I like him to pressure and the directionality. I like him to finish within the first 2 rounds. But if he doesn't, and it's later rounds, you're in DP territory, phrasing Dustin Poirier territory. But I'll go Oliveira.
Well, we might end up in that territory. Never, sorry.
We might. All right. Dan, I got to ask. We, as tiebreakers, will do fight of the night and performances of the night. So I need 2 performances of the night and 1 fight of the night. Who can we count on for you for those?
I'm going to go with Kai Kara France, Cody Garbrandt for fight of the night. Even though I'm picking my guy to win by knockout, so it's probably a bad pick, but I'll stick with it. And then I'll go with Dan Ige for performance. He's got a nickname 50K, and he's friends with management and crap. So you got to figure that's a good bet. And for the last but not least bonus, I really hope they don't go give it away in the main event. But a lot of these fights could be close, boring, or slogs early on. So I'll go double down on Chucky Olives.
Yeah, Kev.
Performance of the night 1, Nunes. Performance of the night 2, Emmett. Fight of the night, O'Malley Paiva. Feeling good about it.
All right.
With 15 fights, if it
this...
comes down to those 3, I'm going to be just really impressed.
Real quick, I'm surprised neither of us picked the drunk guys to get fight of the night with Neil and Ponzinibbio.
Understood.
Or Tuivasa. Yeah, we left a lot of drunks on the table. They're all undercard. It's hard to get that fight of the night undercard wise.
Let me ask this. We
mind,
defer
Neil.
to the guest. Dan, what are you feeling? What do you feel like would be a good wager?
Dude, I feel like Kevin made it easy for me, man. And I believe he said he went delirious drinking 10 of, I don't know if they're Donald Cerrone ranch waters, but some type of ranch water cooler. Can we replicate that? Can we replicate a maybe not 10? I don't want Kevin to kill himself, but can we get a drink off for the camera on that from my end of it?
A 6 ranch water toast. I like it. I like it. Little social media post. Right. Yeah. A 6 ranch water toast to the better man, which is decided this week by these picks.
Because I still don't know if it's ranch buttermilk or ranch from a ranch. I'm so concerned. All right. Listen, we are very short on time, but you know the rules. We'll have you back on next week if you are available. We'd love to do that. But we would like to have an opportunity for you to go ahead and plug your stuff. Where can people see and hear and listen to your show, sir?
I'll just plug the only social media platform I'm on because I link everything I do there, which is Twitter at Dan Tom MMA. You can find my work from MMAJunkie.com or Protect Your Neck podcast stuff, any of that. You can do it by searching the old-fashioned way with Google, but if you want to find me, at Dan Tom MMA.
Dan, you are one of the best. We love you so much. We look forward to bringing you back on next week after we see some fights, my friend. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
Look forward to talking to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
That'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night and good fight.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...